Hello. How's it going, guys? My name is Iskender, and in this video, I'm going to talk about normalization. You're probably already familiar with the three normalization forms, but you might be confused. Do I need to make a table here or there? So I want to offer you a new approach. I claim that if you do these two preliminary steps, such as identifying entities and their attributes and defining relationships, the rest of normalization should be pretty easy. So I'm going to use an example from class, the hotel database, which has attributes like reservation information, hotel information, guest information, and room information. The first preliminary step that you should do, even before you do the first normalization form, is to identify entities and their attributes. Try to separate entities from attributes. Reservation ID is an attribute of an entity that we can call reservations. So I'm going to put it in a list of entities. And it's going to have an attribute called reservation ID. Check-in date and check-out date, I would argue that they're part of the reservation. So add it to the list here. Now, hotel is a totally separate thing from reservations. And it has a name, address, and phone number. Guests is also a separate thing. They can exist outside of the hotel. And they have a name, phone number, email, and premium member status. And finally, you can see that there are also different rooms in this hotel. Even though they're part of the hotel, but they have their own attributes that don't apply to the hotel. So that's why I'm gonna make rooms an entity as well, and it has attributes like type and price. So this is what the first preliminary step is about. Just listing all the entities and their attributes. So this list kind of looks like the first normal form, but after we do the second preliminary step, it might look different. So the second preliminary step that I want you to do is to define relationships between entities and relationships of entities with the main entity. So what I mean by the main entity is it usually the first field or column or row of the database. It's usually primary key, and it kind of implies that this is the main thing. Like the whole database is about this thing, which is reservations. So first we want to list relationships that other entities have with reservations. So let's say reservation and hotel, right? All reservations take place at the same hotel. Well, at least based on these values. So I would say that this is a many to one relationship. Reservation and guests. I would say it's a many to many because the same reservation could have multiple guests, but it's kind of implied that guests are able to make more than one reservation in this hotel. So that's why it's a many to many. And reservation and room. So there's no direct relationship between room and reservation because room is connected to the guests, right? As we can see in this attributes. So what I'm going to do instead is say guest and room. And that relationship is many to many. Because as you can see here, guest one reserved two different rooms. And the same room could be reserved by different guests. So we have defined all the relationships in this database. So now we are ready to tackle the first normal form.